Another feed inside and Stelky finishes! Clark's 8th assist!
Before she even set foot on a WNBA court, before those arenas started packing out with record-shattering crowds, Caitlin Clark had already pulled off the unthinkable. She didn't just play the game, she owned it before turning pro. Still rocking her Iowa jersey, still just a college athlete, she became the face every brand wanted to claim. State Farm, Nike, Wilson, Gatorade, everyone was chasing her name like it was gold. But how did she pull that off? What did she figure out that everyone else missed? She didn't sit around waiting to prove herself under the bright lights of the Pro League. No way! She flipped the script early, becoming a marketing powerhouse first. She rewrote the whole playbook on athlete endorsements, and she did it with her own hands. This is the story of how one unstoppable woman made corporate America lose its mind, and why every brand in the country is now scrambling to decode her secret move before it's too late. The girl from Iowa turned the business of sports upside down. But to really understand how Caitlin Clark broke the system, you've got to look back to where it all started. Not the numbers, not the trophies, the story, because that's where her power came from. She was just a teenager from Des Moines with a jump shot that made no sense and dreams too big for anyone else to handle. She was draining three-pointers from ranges coaches warned players never to try, and hitting them again and again with a kind of confidence that almost looked reckless. Until you realized it wasn't recklessness at all. It was vision. It wasn't just confidence, it was certainty. Caitlin Clark seemed to know something the rest of the world didn't. She knew exactly where the ball would land before it even left her fingertips. But here's the part that really matters. Caitlin Clark didn't just play basketball. She became something bigger than the game itself. She talked about being that little Iowa girl with dreams that didn't fit inside her hometown. She talked about chasing possibility and turning it into something real. She spoke about sacrifice, about skipping her high school prom and not even blinking because she had somewhere more important to be. That wasn't media coaching, and it sure wasn't a PR team feeding her lines. That was her, 100% genuine, a dreamer who turned ambition into action and worked like no one else to make it happen. That identity, that raw, authentic story of grind, belief, and fearless ambition became the backbone of everything that came next. Brands weren't just signing a basketball player anymore. They were buying into a story, and when a story is real, when people feel it, it's worth more than any championship trophy or viral highlight reel. Then came the shocker, the State Farm revolution, the first domino that nobody saw coming. State Farm, an insurance company, not a sneaker brand, not an energy drink, not even a sports giant, became the first major corporation to realize what Caitlin Clark truly represented. They saw something in her that went beyond basketball and decided to take a massive leap of faith. They signed her while she was still in college. They didn't wait for the pro debut or the headlines. They put her front and center in a national campaign.
All started as a little girl in Iowa. Caitlin Clark's only option to play basketball was on the boys' team.
She made history as the first NCAA athlete, male or female, to ever appear in one of their commercials. Can you imagine the gamble they were taking? She hadn't played a single pro minute. No championships, no pro stats, just belief. And under the new NCAA rules that finally allowed athletes to earn from their name, image, and likeness, State Farm took a bold swing, betting not on a finished product, but on a legend in the making. The whole NIL scene was like the Wild West. No rules, no roadmap, just chaos and opportunity colliding at full speed. Nobody really knew what would work or flop. Most companies were playing it safe, tossing out small local deals, testing the waters like they were scared to jump in. But State Farm? They looked at that same mess and said, forget the risk. We see a once-in-a-generation shot right in front of us. What made their move genius wasn't just that they signed Caitlin Clark, it was how they executed it. Most athlete ads are painfully stiff. A player stands there, forces a smile, reads a line, and awkwardly holds up a product. You can practically feel the discomfort through the screen. But Caitlin flipped that whole formula upside down. She came in with her own spark, funny, chill, confident, and totally effortless. Her humor was dry but sharp, her timing perfect. When that "from the logo" bit dropped, it hit. Her reactions felt real, like watching your friend clown around, not some celebrity cashing a check. She wasn't acting, she was just being, and the camera absolutely adored her for it. Then came the explosion, the moment when a commercial stopped being just an ad and became culture. State Farm didn't just make a campaign, they made a catchphrase. Fans started quoting it, remixing it, turning it into memes. Kids dropped it into their basketball highlight edits like it was gospel. Every post, every clip, every shout-out kept pushing women's basketball higher and louder. Everyone suddenly wanted to shoot from the logo, but just like her, that line spread across every platform. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, faster than any marketing team could plan. It became viral organically, something that ad execs spend millions trying to fake and still fail to capture. That was the exact moment corporate America realized Caitlin Clark wasn't just another athlete to sponsor, she was a walking marketing glitch, a natural-born phenomenon who could turn a 30-second commercial into a nationwide movement without even trying. And while the world was still catching its breath, Nike made its next legendary move, breaking a 27-year silence on Super Bowl ads to bet big on her. After nearly 30 years of silence on the world's biggest advertising stage, Nike decided to step back into the Super Bowl, the ultimate arena for brands looking to make a statement. A 30-second spot costs more than most companies spend on marketing in a whole year. It's the kind of stage where one mistake can haunt an executive's career and where sleepless nights are part of the job. When Nike finally made their comeback, they could have picked anyone, a Hall of Famer with years of proven success, a global icon whose face already ruled billboards across continents. They had the entire sports world at their fingertips. They could have gone the safe route, a superstar with a resume so packed it practically marketed itself. But instead, they took the boldest swing imaginable. They chose a 22-year-old from Iowa who hadn't played a single professional game yet. That move alone screamed everything Nike wanted to say. This wasn't about safety or predictability. It was about momentum. Nike didn't want another campaign. They wanted energy. They wanted gravity. They wanted someone who could pull culture toward her just by stepping on screen. They needed a face that didn't just represent a sport, but a shift. And that's exactly what Caitlin Clark brought to the table. She wasn't just carrying a basketball. She was carrying the moment. Nike's Super Bowl return wasn't supposed to blend in. It was meant to shake the table. Because let's be real, Super Bowl viewers are the toughest crowd in the game.
Day in college basketball, Iowa's Caitlin Clark became the leading scorer in the NCAA Division I basketball, woman or man.
Everyone's throwing out fireworks, celebrities, and special effects, and yet most commercials vanish from memory seconds after they air. Nike didn't want noise, they wanted impact. They needed someone who could grab attention without begging for it. Someone whose presence alone could silence the room and make people feel something real. They looked across every league, every sport, every rising star in America, and only one name checked every box: Caitlin Clark. And when that ad finally dropped, it was shockingly simple. No over-the-top explosions, no random celebrity cameos, no fancy CGI, just raw storytelling, raw emotion, and one athlete who didn't need anything extra to make the whole world stop and watch. It was raw, emotional, and powerful. A tribute to the rise of a small-town kid who turned into a symbol for something way bigger than herself. Caitlin spoke straight from the heart about sacrifice, about missing her prom, about the grind, about playing with fire and dreaming like limits didn't exist. The ad didn't just show an athlete, it showed a human being who had earned every single moment of success she was living. Nike nailed it because they understood the magic wasn't in special effects or scripts, it was in her. They didn't need to fake an image or stage some story. All they had to do was point the camera at the real Caitlin Clark, the one who had already built her own legend through sweat, grit, and genuine energy. Then came the next powerhouse move, Gatorade and the product revolution. Most athlete deals are cookie cutter. Same formula, same vibe. The company slaps an athlete's face on a bottle, gets them to say a few positive words, and boom, the check clears. It's all surface, no soul. But Gatorade flipped that whole system. They didn't just want Caitlin's image, they wanted her mind. They pulled her into the process and designed something brand new, a custom hydration and recovery bottle built around her actual training routine. This wasn't some generic item with her name printed on it. This was something she helped create. Every detail matched how she trains, performs, and bounces back after games. And when it dropped, it went crazy. The bottle sold out in days, not weeks, days. Fans didn't just want a product, they wanted a piece of her world. They wanted to feel that connection, to hold something that tied them to the same drive, the same mindset, the same fire that made Caitlin Clark who she is. Gatorade understood exactly what Nike and State Farm had already figured out. Caitlin Clark's authenticity is the brand. She doesn't need flashy campaigns or empty slogans. If a product reflects her story, her personality, and her everyday hustle, People don't just buy it, they believe in it. If anything feels fake or disconnected from who Caitlin Clark really is, people will spot it instantly. Fans know her too well. They can tell the difference between real and rehearsed in a heartbeat. The only companies that truly win with her are the ones that let her be herself. No filters, no overproduced narratives, just the real Caitlin. Then came Wilson, and with them, the deal that redefined what an athlete partnership could even be. This is the same company that's been crafting the official game ball for pro basketball longer than most players have been alive. But when they approached Caitlin, it wasn't the usual smile and hold the product offer. They came with something completely different. They didn't want her to stand in front of a camera and pitch their brand. They wanted her in the room, creating alongside them. Wilson made Caitlin Clark the first female athlete in history to co-design her own Wilson signature collection. That's not just a contract, that's a revolution. This wasn't an endorsement, it was a collaboration, a meeting of equals between one of the biggest names in sports gear and a young athlete who had already proven she understood the game on a deeper level.
National Nike commercial just in time for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. Tonight, Rebecca Petit has the message.
The message was clear. They didn't just want her face, they wanted her mind. That difference matters a lot. An endorsement says, we want your image attached to our product. But a collaboration says, we want your vision built into our product. Wilson was admitting that Caitlin Clark wasn't just a star player, she was a basketball thinker. Someone whose understanding of the sport could literally shape the tools of the game itself. And they trusted her enough to share that creative control, something no major equipment brand had ever offered a female athlete before. Caitlin Clark broke another barrier that day, not by hitting a three, but by stepping into a boardroom and changing the power dynamic forever. And when the Wilson commercial dropped, it didn't scream for attention like most flashy sports ads. It was quiet. It was pure. You heard the sound of sneakers on hardwood, a single basketball echoing in an empty gym, then a long three soaring through the air. Swish! Nothing but net. It wasn't just selling a product, it was selling a feeling. The stillness, the focus, the unshakable bond between a player and the game they love. It reminded everyone, this is what greatness sounds like when no one's watching. It was about those early mornings. The ones when no one's watching, no cameras, no applause, just her and the game. The calm rhythm of repetition, the sound of sneakers sliding, the thud of the ball echoing through an empty gym. That kind of dedication becomes meditation. The Wilson ad captured that perfectly. It wasn't selling sneakers or gear, it was a love letter to basketball itself. And in it, Caitlin Clark wasn't portrayed as some corporate spokesperson. She was the guardian of the sport's soul.
Caitlin Clark's new logo as Nike's newest signature athlete.
Wilson tapped into something deep about her magic. Caitlin isn't loved just because she's good. She's loved because she plays with the same passion and emotion that fans feel when they watch. She doesn't treat basketball like a job. She treats it like a calling. She plays with joy that jumps off the screen, celebrates with real emotion, and competes with a fire that feels personal, not polished. When Wilson brought her in as a co-creator, they weren't just partnering with an athlete, they were acknowledging that she is basketball. She doesn't just represent the game, she embodies it. And that emotional connection, that genuine love, is worth more than any traditional endorsement check ever could be. Now here's the part that most people miss when they try to explain why Caitlin Clark dominates the marketing world. It's not luck, it's not timing, and it's definitely not just her skills. She's got three rare qualities that brands spend fortunes trying to find, and almost nobody else has all three at once. First, her natural camera presence. She doesn't fake it, doesn't overdo it, doesn't try to force charm. She just steps in front of the lens and lets her authenticity shine. The camera doesn't capture her, it connects with her. Her timing is instinctive, like her jump shot. She knows exactly when to pause, when to smile, when to let a moment breathe. Most athletes need hours of coaching and multiple takes just to look natural. Caitlin, she walks in, hits her marks, and nails it, effortlessly. Second, her emotional narrative, her story. Dreaming huge, grinding relentlessly, sacrificing everything for that dream, hits deeper than sports. It speaks to anyone who's ever wanted something so badly they were willing to trade comfort for purpose. Her journey isn't just impressive, it's relatable. People see themselves in her rise. The discipline, the setbacks, the faith, the obsession, that's what takes a simple ad and turns it into something unforgettable. Because at the end of the day, people don't remember products. They remember feelings. And Caitlin Clark, she makes people feel. Third, she's a cultural movement. When she does something, when she celebrates, when she drops a shot from the logo, when she says a line, fans don't just watch it, they copy it. They recreate it, remix it, repeat it. Her actions ripple through pop culture in real time. Caitlin Clark isn't just part of the conversation. She is the conversation. Fans don't just watch Caitlin Clark, they share her. They turn her moments into memes, edits, and viral trends that light up every platform without any brand needing to spend a single dime.
Basketball, Caitlin Clark was signed a multi-year sponsorship deal with Wilson, maker of the WNBA's official basketball.
That's the wild part. Companies burn through billions trying to fake that kind of organic hype, and almost all of them fail. But Caitlin, she generates it naturally, effortlessly, just by being herself. That's the real difference. The line between an athlete who sells products and one who creates moments. Products fade the day after you buy them, but moments become eras. They become memories that define a generation. Now, let's get something straight. Caitlin Clark isn't just rewriting basketball history. She's rewriting marketing history. The records she's already broken are jaw-dropping. Each one on its own would be enough to define a career. But together, they mark a total shift in how the world values athletes. Let's break it down. She became the first NCAA athlete, male or female, to ever appear in a national State Farm commercial. Think about that. State Farm has been running iconic athlete ads for decades. Legends, MVPs, Hall of Famers, all part of that lineup. And then, for the first time ever, they picked a college player to take the lead. That move alone shattered the playbook. Then came the next record. She became the first woman to headline Nike's return to the Super Bowl. After a 27-year break, Nike could have picked anyone. World champions, global icons, athletes with household names on every continent. But they went all in on her. A 22-year-old from Iowa with no pro minutes yet, because they saw something no algorithm could measure: influence. Next, she became the first female athlete to co-design a Wilson signature collection. Wilson's been making basketballs for nearly a century. They've seen legends come and go, and yet they handed creative control to her. A player so in tune with the sport that she literally helped redefine how the game's most essential tool feels in your hands. That's not just endorsement, that's evolution.
On its basketball products, plus be Wilson's ambassador, and of course will have all kinds of new collections.
And if that wasn't enough, she became the first Gatorade athlete to launch a recovery-focused product line designed around her actual training methods. Not a generic bottle with her name slapped on it, a custom-built line tied directly to her grind, her process, her results. These aren't small wins. These are transformations. Each partnership represents a massive brand taking a risk they'd never taken before, because Caitlin Clark made them believe it was worth it. She convinced the biggest corporations in the world that authenticity and ambition could sell more powerfully than any celebrity script ever could. Every contract she signs, every campaign she films, every product she puts her name on, it all pushes women's sports further into the spotlight. She's doing what decades of traditional marketing never managed to pull off. She's making the WNBA cool. Caitlin Clark isn't just breaking records, she's building blueprints. She's showing the next generation of female athletes exactly what's possible when talent meets truth. When you're real enough, bold enough, and relentless enough to command your own story. Caitlin Clark is proving something corporate America can't ignore anymore. Investing in women's sports isn't charity, and it isn't a PR stunt to look progressive. It's smart business, it's profitable. It's the kind of investment that builds culture, creates movements, and sparks real consumer engagement. She's not asking companies to believe in potential. She's showing them the returns in real time. The ripple effects of her rise are going to echo for decades. Every female athlete who lands a major endorsement deal in the next 20 years will be walking a path Caitlin Clark paved herself, with confidence, skill, and relentless drive. She didn't sit around waiting for permission. She didn't wait for the industry to decide she was ready. She forced the industry to catch up. She showed up, delivered greatness, and made the market adjust to her, not the other way around. And now the million-dollar question every marketing exec in the country is whispering in boardrooms is simple.
This, as you might imagine, is a pretty good advertising opportunity, and Nike did not disappoint.
What's left for her to conquer? The answer? Everything. That's the part that excites fans and terrifies her competition. Caitlin Clark doesn't have a ceiling. She's breaking through the roof every time someone tries to put a limit on her. She's not boxed into the usual categories that keep athletes predictable and brands comfortable. Traditional sports marketing says basketball players sell sneakers, sports drinks, and performance gear. That's the safe playbook, the one companies have recycled for decades. But Caitlin Clark, she doesn't follow playbooks. She rewrites them. Her influence stretches far beyond the court. Her presence is broad enough, genuine enough, and culturally electric enough to sell almost anything. She can move lifestyle brands that speak to young professionals who see her as a symbol of ambition and hustle. She can team up with tech giants searching for someone who embodies innovation, focus, and fearlessness. She can partner with financial services brands that want to connect with a new generation, people who want to see authentic faces behind the products they trust. And that's just the beginning. She can front streaming platforms, anchor documentaries, or build media ventures that transform her journey into global entertainment. Her story already feels cinematic. The underdog energy, the authenticity, the emotion, it's ready-made for the screen. Right now, it's not just sports companies circling around her name. It's the heavy hitters of the entire business world. Apple is watching, Netflix is watching, Amazon is watching, major banks, luxury fashion houses, and cutting-edge tech startups are all in line trying to figure out how to tap into that Caitlin Clark spark. They're not chasing a logo or a stat sheet, they're chasing credibility. They want the kind of authentic connection with fans that Caitlin creates every single time she steps on a court, in front of a camera, or on a social feed. Caitlin Clark isn't just the face of women's basketball, she's the face of a new era in marketing, where talent meets truth and authenticity sells more powerfully than any slogan ever could. Every major company is studying the same playbook right now, the one State Farm and Nike figured out before anyone else. They realized early that Caitlin Clark isn't just another athlete to sponsor. She's a cultural bridge. She connects with an audience that traditional advertising can't even touch. She doesn't sell products. She sells connection, authentic, emotional connection.
A top WNBA pick, Caitlin Clark, her first pro game, 10 days away. But even before she makes her pro debut, she has a major Nike deal on the line.
Now, the only questions left buzzing through boardrooms are, who's going to move first? How groundbreaking will the next deal be? And can the rest of the industry move fast enough to keep up before she changes the game all over again? Because whoever lands her next isn't just signing an athlete, they're buying a front row seat to the future of American marketing. Before she ever touched a WNBA court, before those arenas started filling up with record-breaking crowds, Caitlin Clark had already done the impossible. She won the marketing game before even turning pro. Still rocking her Iowa jersey, still technically a college athlete, she had every major brand in America battling to put her face on their products. State Farm, Nike, Wilson, Gatorade, all chasing one name because she had already turned athlete marketing on its head. How did she pull it off? How did she manage to flip the entire endorsement world before she ever played her first professional minute? What did she see about connection, culture, and influence that the rest of the sports world completely missed? She didn't wait for validation. She didn't wait to earn her turn. Caitlin Clark made her moment happen on her own terms. She became a commercial phenomenon first, then let the rest of the world catch up to her spotlight. She rewrote the rules of athlete endorsements, not someday, not eventually, but right now. This isn't just a story about sports. It's a story about power, about one young woman from Iowa who flipped the script on corporate America and made billion-dollar brands compete for her vision. Caitlin Clark didn't just change how we see women's basketball, she changed how companies understand influence itself. Every deal she signs now isn't just a win for her, it's a message to the entire industry. Authenticity runs the game. So if you've been following this journey, the rise, the records, the revolution, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Because Caitlin Clark's story, it's just getting started.